Hey everyone, it's Delta Shiny Zeta here bringing you a really special series. Now, I'm not entirely sure if I am going to actually keep going with this series. It honestly depends on what happens and how much people like it. The only reason I'm doing it for this game, in particular Final Fantasy XII the Zodiac Age, is because people actually requested a lot of specific things related to trophies during my actual Let's Play of it. So this is not a Let's Play, it's simply a platinum guide for the game. If you want to see an actual extensive walkthrough slash Let's Play, then go ahead and check out, my playlist on my channel. Anyway, this series is going to be basically going for Platinum Trophies, and I'm starting with one of my all-time favorite games for the PlayStation 4, Final Fantasy XII the Zodiac Age. This game is obviously an HD remaster of the original one for the PS2, but it is the Zodiac version, which was not actually released in North America initially in the PS2, only until now. So for Final Fantasy XII the Zodiac Age, there are a total of 41 trophies to obtain, 40 of which are regular trophies and 1 is the Platinum. Now, among all these trophies, there are actually 8 secret trophies, which means that unless you look up a walkthrough online or something, such as a website that shows what the trophy is, you will not know. Luckily for all of you, the secret trophies in this game are all non-missable. They're essentially story related. So as far as I'm going to be doing this walkthrough, there's a very simple way. Basically, when you start playing from the beginning of the game, aside from doing the whole story progression and story related things, you also want to keep in mind a couple things. Now, while you are actually playing throughout the game, you will automatically by default get a couple trophies, and they are as follows. The first one is for the Homeland, followed by Galbana Bloom, a Traitor Redeemed, Fated Meeting, the MIst Seethes, Visions of the Dreamer, Reins of History, and eventually once you beat the game, Wings of My Own. So all of these trophies right here are all directly related to the actual story, which means that as long as you play the game and make progress in the story and eventually beat the game, you're gonna get them. They are pretty much 100% non-missable trophies. You will get all of them. Wings of My Own might actually take you a while, because before you beat the game, you might actually want to do a number of side quests that involve hours and hours of grinding, but aside from that one, all the other ones are going to be pretty obvious. So you can pretty much check all of those right away. Now let's take a look at some of the trophies that you will pretty much be getting by default as you're actually playing the game and not even grinding for them. Now, there are going to be a number of them. The first one you will get is Assault Striker. This one requires you to use the attack command 300 times. You're going to get this one insanely early in the game, probably the second trophy you obtain, maybe the third trophy that you obtain in the game. Very early. It's very basic, simply attack, it's the main command that you do in Final Fantasy games. You will get this one within an hour of playing. The next trophy is Spellslinger. Spellslinger requires you to cast magics 200 times. This means white magic, black magic, green magic, time magic, arcane magic. Yeah, you get the point. 200 times. Now, even if you're not a magic user in terms of offense, such as like fire and all that, because I know I'm not. Usually whenever in Final Fantasy games, I prefer to use attack over magic offensively. But even if you're not to worry, because I can almost guarantee that you are going to be using white magic to heal your characters. Basically, anytime you have a character use Cure, or Cura, or Curaga, that counts as a magic, even though it's not offensive. So simply Cure 200 times and you have this. This one you'll probably get it a little bit later than Assault Striker, but really early nonetheless. The next one is Premier Prestidigitator. Honestly, I'm not even sure how to pronounce that last word, but probably that's what I just said. So this one requires you to actually use techniques 100 times. So this one will probably take you a little bit longer than both Assault Striker and Spellslinger, because most people, from what I've noticed, don't really use techniques aside from steal. Now, if you are one of those big-time stealers in Final Fantasy who loves to steal, you'll get this one very early, because steal is in fact a technique in this game. But if you don't, it'll take you a little while. A lot of people like to use Libra, a self-Libra Gambit. That's usually going to get it done within a couple hours of playing. By the time you probably get to, I would say, the Tomb of Wraithwall, you should probably have this one. But there's actually an easy way to get this trophy. And this one does correlate with the Master Thief trophy, which is going to be the next one. Master Thief trophy requires you to successfully steal 50 times. It's actually very simple. Set up a gambit. The gambit is as follows. Foe nearest or foe lowest HP, steal with your main party leader, and have your other characters simply attack the enemies. As far as that being successful or not, well, there is the Thief's Cuffs accessory available for you. You can equip that to improve the chance of stealing, but that's not necessary. Again, simply set up the gambit, and you'll get this within 20 minutes, probably even more if you know times 2 or times 4, because the Zodiac Age version lets you do that. Either way though, you'll have this one down pretty fast. Once you successfully steal 50 times, you will automatically be halfway there to the other trophy that I just talked about. So you're actually very close. A couple Libras here and there, a couple charges here and there, and you're good to go. The next trophy is Blood Dancer. Blood Dancer correlates with a lot of other things that you'll be getting by default. This one requires you to defeat 500 foes. If you attack 300 times, if you cast magic 200 times, if you use techniques, you will eventually get this one pretty fast, usually within a couple hours of gameplay. There's honestly not much to talk about this trophy because it's very basic and you will get it. The next trophy is Wayfarer. This one is also one of the easiest trophies in the game to unlock because just like a couple others such as Assault Striker and Blood Dancer, you will get it by just playing the game. Eventually you will get it. Trust me. There's no way you can miss this because you will undoubtedly take 50,000 steps before you even beat the game. So you will get this one. How to get it faster, you may ask? Put it to ×4, run around in circles like an idiot, and you will eventually get it. That simple. Easy bronze trophy. The next trophy is Plunderer. Plunderer is also extremely basic. Acquire 100,000 gil. No doubt you will get 100,000 gil by the time you make it to the end parts of the game. However, this one does require a little bit more than just, playing the game normally. It does actually kind of require you to pick up the loot. As stupid and ridiculous as that may sound, I know some people simply rush through the game, kill enemies, and keep going. No, pick up the loot. Pick up the loot and then sell the loot, and you will get it eventually. Probably within, I don't know, maybe the quarter point of the game, once you've done about 25% of the story to 30%-ish, I would say, around there. The next trophy is Privateer. This one actually correlates a lot with the Plunderer that I just talked about. This one actually requires you to sell 1,000 pieces of loot. So again, pick up the loot. Pick up all the loot, sell all the loot. You'll get this one within maybe about the 1/3 to 1/2 at the most of the game. By that point, you should have easily sold 1,000 pieces of loot. It's honestly not that hard. And once you have sold 1,000 pieces, I can guarantee you that you pretty much have got Plunder already. So they correlate with each other and they're both very basic trophies. The next trophy is Spendthrift. Spendthrift requires you to sell 1 million gil in total. This one, I also kind of want to say it's a little basic and obvious, but at the same time it does require a little more work. Because if you simply make it to the end of the game without too much grinding, you will actually not spend 1 million gil yet. So it is a bit of a grind, but if you are going to be going for the Platinum Trophy, then I can pretty much guarantee you that this trophy, you don't have to worry about it at all. Because by the time you do every other difficult trophy in the game, such as defeating all of the really difficult marks, the Huns, and doing various other things such as grinding up your levels and all that, you will have already obtained that much gil. By the time you're at the end of the game, where you're at the point where you can actually afford all the grimoires/monographs, you will actually get this. Aside from each grimoire costing about 20 to 25,000, there's also a thing called the Canopic Jar. The Canopic Jar is essentially an item that costs 250,000 gil. If you buy this thing, you're already 1/4 of the way there to this trophy. With all the other things you've already been spending on, that should take you to maybe about 700,000 at the most. So basically, once you keep buying weapons and armor throughout the game, eventually buy every single spell and technique, and eventually buying every single gambit and all the monographs as well that I just mentioned, you'll actually have this one near the end of the game. The next trophy is Record Breaker. Record Breaker is another very basic one. As you can see, a lot of trophies in this game are actually extremely basic. This one requires you to obtain 500,000 clan points. How do you do that, you may ask? Killing enemies. Basically, the more you play, the more enemies you kill, the more clan points you get. But if you want to get a bigger buff, a bigger boost in clan points, then defeat the hunts, the marks as you may call them. You know, all those marks that are on the hunt post or even the elite marks from a Blanc? If you actually do those, you will get a lot more clan points. So the more you kill, the faster your points will actually go up. Like I said, you don't really have to grind for this one that much, but if you do want to get it faster, then make sure to do a lot of the hunts earlier on, and that's how you get it. Okay, so the last two I want to talk about in this specific video are Exemplar and Conqueror. Now these two are also basic, in other words, you will eventually get them, but they're also a little bit of a grind. They're not necessarily trophies you will automatically get just by playing the game and beating it, but if you are going to be going for the side quest, then they are actually going to be extremely basic for you. So, Exemplar says raise your party's level above 50. Now, average party's level, I should emphasize, which means that if you focus on only 3 characters and leave the other ones at like 10 to 15, like sometimes how I play the game, then that actually means that you need to raise your initial 3 party members up a lot more. What I recommend doing is actually getting a lot of the party members to at least 25 to 30-ish. That'll actually raise the average a lot, and then by the time you get to about 70-ish on your levels for your main 3 characters, you will be at the average level 50. Either way though, like I said, it is a little bit of a grind. If you are going going to be having trouble getting this one, I recommend a couple of things. First of all, get embroidered tippets. Embroidered tippets essentially double the experience. If you have these things on some of your characters, then it actually makes getting this trophy a little bit quicker. The second thing, go to actual places that give you experience. A lot of very common places are the deeper areas of the Great Crystal, the Pharaoh's Subterra, and the Hen Mines on the Path of the Zodiac. These three places are very popular for a lot of experience. Each enemy roughly gives you about 2,000 to 3,000 experience each in these areas, which is extremely convenient. Combine that with the embroidered tippets on at least 2 to 3 of our characters, and you are good to go eventually. And the last one is Conqueror. This one does correlate with Exemplar as well, earn 48,000 LP. 48,000 is honestly not too easy to get. It does require a bit of a grind. By the time you finish with most side quests, you should actually have this one done though. An easier way to do this, equip golden amulets. Just like how embroidered tippets are useful for Exemplar, golden amulets are going to be very useful for Conqueror because they double the LP you get. If you're going for all the side quests and all the really difficult trophies that I'll be talking about in the next few videos, you will eventually actually get both Exemplar and Conqueror. So that right there was all the very basic trophies of the game. As you can see, some were a little less basic than others, but either way, these are all going to be trophies you get by default by simply playing through the game, and for some, obviously a little bit of grinding. But aside from the little bit of grinding, these trophies are actually extremely easy to get. In the next few videos though, I'm going to be starting to talk about the more in-depth trophies. So if you enjoyed this episode and found it very helpful, please be sure to leave a like, I would appreciate that very much, thank you, and I will see all of you in the next one. Bye bye everyone, have a great day.